Chapter 2. The Success of the Real-Time Business. The Power of Now. The foundations of predictive business lie in the real-time technologies, processes, and practices that I described in The Power of Now back in 1999. At that time, it was difficult for many people to believe in a world of intelligently connected systems that all understood one another. We were at the height of the dot-com bubble, and there was much talk of global B2B marketplaces being built on the web. Siebel Systems was growing rapidly as large corporations adopted customer relationship management software to gather customer data and create incentive and loyalty programs. Sun Microsystems had just launched its Genie technology that promised to enable any device to link to the network. And Tibco Software Incorporated was pioneering the use of real-time data to enable e-business, as we then called it. Businesses were rushing to adapt to the Internet, yet there was still a lot of skepticism about the value of real-time information. The general feeling was that real-time was only for super high-powered traders on Wall Street, and very few people could see how it might apply to a broader spectrum of businesses. It was much like the early days of the personal computer, when many people said, "Well, why would I ever need a home computer?" It was impossible then for most people to imagine children using PCs to do their homework, or for vacationers to book their travel online and store their digital photos on a PC when they got home. Similarly, the real-time bandwagon has rolled a long way in the past 5 or 6 years. Many industries and businesses have implemented real-time technologies and derived tremendous dollar value from doing so. What is more, the principles of real-time operations are now firmly established as core components of business success. Today, you would be hard-pressed to find a business that doesn't comprehend that it is essential to be able to serve customers on a timely basis, to manage supply chains on a timely basis, and to be able to respond to threats and opportunities on a timely basis. Whether you are running an airline or a financial services institution, or you are a retailer or a computer manufacturer, you need to be able to run your business in an integrated, real-time fashion. However, one of the inevitable consequences of the broad adoption of real-time technologies is that the term real-time has come to mean many different things to different people, in part because the IT industry is faddish in its adoption of new terminology, and overuse inevitably leads to distortions. I will begin a review of real-time by giving you a clear definition. Real-time means making necessary information available to the people or systems that need it, when they need it, and in a way in which they can act effectively upon that information. Ultimately, it is about having the ability to make faster and better decisions than competitors. By having ready access to information and superior mechanisms to process it, the real-time enterprise fundamentally improves operational efficiency, outsmarts competitors, and continually senses and drives new revenue streams. But let us consider real-time as it applies to some specific situations and industries. When an aircraft's sensors detect a fault in a real-time environment, a message needs to get to the right people as quickly as possible so that corrective action can be taken. In practical terms, it means assembling the right maintenance crew and parts so that when the plane lands, the crew is able to take care of the problem immediately. There may be a practical limit on the amount of time between the sensor relaying its message to ground control and the start of the repair process, but real-time systems provide maintenance with enough information and the maximum time window to efficiently assemble all the necessary parts. On the other hand, when a passenger reaches the front of a Delta Airlines check-in line, real-time means the agent is pulling up the customer's travel history, seating preferences, dietary requirements, and so on within 2 or 3 seconds. Delta check-in staff know not only the extent to which each customer travels, they know how profitable each is. This is because customer information is tied into Delta's financial systems. Armed with this information, check-in staff can immediately identify their best customers and act appropriately to ensure that the customer enjoys a differentiated experience. Switching to the financial markets, real-time information is vital in stock trading. To cite an extreme example, NASDAQ processes about 60,000 messages a second. Each of these messages must be audited to ensure that all information on every trade is delivered within an SEC-mandated time frame. But when NASDAQ stock traders are operating, they need information almost instantly. In each case, real-time technology is used to accomplish a business goal. While the time interval varies, it is essential that information be delivered fast enough. So for every organization, real-time means delivering information at the right time. Customer critical. Real-time performance is critical for companies to meet their goals of acquiring, retaining, and growing loyal customers. This is because we live in a world of instant gratification, fueled by the ubiquitous availability of information about products and services. In the world of internet consumerism, your average user is more knowledgeable about products and services than ever before and will tolerate nothing less than exemplary execution. So customers' demands are driving the push to real-time. From a business perspective, real-time is no longer optional. Your business survival means assimilating and executing against a real-time mindset. But be careful. Gathering more information from more sources does not, in itself, guarantee the success of a real-time operation. In many ways, the tsunami of information that real-time environments can deliver creates new challenges. Now you must disseminate, route, and filter vastly greater volumes of information more rapidly than ever before. Indeed, implementing real-time techniques successfully is by no means trivial. Different business processes and the systems that support them often operate in isolation, unaware of the knowledge that resides elsewhere in the enterprise network. Yet the true benefits of real-time emerge only when systems are coordinated. There may, for example, be orders, returns, inventory, in-process inventory, and in-transit inventory. One plane arrives today with product, another product is being unloaded, more arrive in a week, and some already reside in the distribution channel. Sorting through this information and figuring out which customers should be served first based on customer priority, shipping efficiency, required date, etc., require that all systems be synchronized. Given the complexity and possible costs, why go to the trouble? Will it be worth it? How long before my business sees a payback? And what's so wrong with answering the customer tomorrow or the next day? As I've already said, customers won't tolerate what they perceive as unnecessary delay in providing an appropriate response. I'd go one step further. Success in the business world is not only about having the greatest product superbly marketed alongside the most trusted brand. It's also about giving the customer the best differentiated service you possibly can, learning from customer interactions, and then acting upon those interactions. Characteristics of real-time companies. During the many years I've spent assisting companies in implementing real-time systems, I have observed that without exception, they all display certain common characteristics. Customer-driven. They define themselves as being, above all else, customer-centric. Concern for the customer permeates all their technology and policy decisions. They embrace the Internet, the World Wide Web, and the more traditional channels, such as mail and fax, to ensure customers can conduct business with them in the most convenient, effective, and profitable manner. Embrace cultural change. They embrace the cultural change required to move from a collection of information silos to a cross-functional structure in which rich information flows transparently between operational managers. They recognize that change of this degree can inflame turf battles and scare those used to hoarding information. Therefore, they find ways to resolve these issues. While committed to placing the best management information tools in the hands of their employees, they share information on a need-to-know basis and enforce data security rules. Management by exception. These companies implement policies, procedures, and rules that support management by exception. Because so many processes are automated, it becomes necessary to emphasize and ensure there is a support structure in place to respond effectively to exceptions. Although the exceptions represent a small fraction of the total volume of business, managers must remain accountable because these are companies that do not tolerate lapses in customer support or sloppy operations. Innovation. These are not meek companies. They do not shy away from change. They react swiftly and easily to changing conditions to retain and grow market share. In fact, they see each change as an opportunity to utilize their superior response capabilities to gain market share from their competitors. They also realize that nothing lasts forever, so they are constantly searching for new ideas. Merit-based alliances. These companies do not form alliances or interlocking relationships in the conventional sense. For them, the concept of static business relationships based on outmoded contracts is meaningless. Instead, relationships with suppliers and partners change quickly and unapologetically. Change doesn't happen on a whim, but it is accepted as an inevitable part of valued long-term relationships. Meritocratic and entrepreneurial. These companies are not consensus-oriented. Instead, they are meritocratic and fiercely entrepreneurial, preferring star employees to team players. More importantly, they freely provide all the tools their people need to become stars. Leaders provide opportunity. Leaders don't empower workers. Instead, they organize the company so that workers can empower themselves. They encourage workers to risk failure rather than accept mediocrity and the status quo. In turn, their staff is not afraid to make mistakes. Short planning cycles. Event-driven companies' planning horizons are usually 1 year or less. They initially use a short cycle time to focus resources on the invention, production, and delivery of a product or service. Once proven, the cycle expands outward to capture long-term value. Finally, all of these businesses employ what I call an event-driven architecture.